Hi, Books A Million readers. Thank you so much for supporting Me Before You and picking it for your October book club. I could not be more excited, and I hope that you also enjoy The Girl You Left Behind, which is my next book out in the US. It's a slightly strange title, and if you read the book, you'll understand why. It had to be kind of an opaque title, because if you reveal too much of what the book is about, people will either not want to read it or have preconceptions about what it's about. The book was originally actually called 6-Month Contract, but my publishers thought that it sounded a little too much like an employment manual, and we thought Me Before You said an awful lot about the two characters and what happens later on in the book. Like most of my books, Me Before You is actually came about through a number of inspirations, but the main one was a news story in the UK about a young man who had suffered a catastrophic injury playing sports, and he persuaded his parents after a couple of years as a quadriplegic to take him to Dignitas, which is a European centre for assisted suicide. And I remember hearing this story on the radio news while I was driving, and I just found it profoundly shocking on all sorts of levels. I couldn't understand how somebody could choose to end their own life, and I couldn't understand how his parents would agree to it. And it got me thinking about how having a life-changing injury really affects a whole family and a whole community, not just the person themselves. But it also raised issues of what would I do, which is a thing I always find fascinating when I read a book. What would I do if I suffered that kind of injury? How would I make a meaningful life? But also, what would I do if the person I loved most announced that they didn't want to live anymore? It's been a great honour to win Romantic Novelist of the Year award. I think I've won it twice and been nominated a third time. If I knew what got me onto that shortlist, I'd make sure every book I ever wrote got me there. But the only reason I can really think for separating an ordinary romance novel from a really good one is the introduction of the unexpected. I think anybody who reads a lot of books about love, especially modern commercial fiction, will know pretty much what's going to happen from about page 40, and that really irritates me. I love it when an author takes me on a journey and I don't know where the book is going, but I feel like I'm in safe hands. And that's kind of what I try to emulate in my books. Hopefully you won't have a clue what's coming next, but you're going to enjoy the ride. The email I get from US readers is actually one of the best parts of my job. Something really has changed in the last 10 years with the introduction of social media, with Twitter, Facebook and email, which is that writing is no longer a question of me putting stuff out there and people just hopefully reading it and maybe sending the odd message or letter. Now what happens is a daily two-way conversation. And if you spend most of your working life on your own in a room, possibly wearing your pajamas, it's actually really nice to have a conversation with your readers who may be at a certain point in a book or want to clarify something that a character did, or just to tell you their opinion. It's actually changed the way I write in some respects, but most of all, it's just a really lovely reminder of why you're doing it, that there are people out there across a huge geographical area enjoying what you do. It's magic. Thanks again to all of you at Books A Million. I'm so grateful that you picked Me Before You for your October book club, and I hope if you read The Girl You Left Behind that you enjoyed that too. I'm currently hard at work editing another book which should be out next year over here, and so you haven't heard the last of me. Thank you very much.